solar activity taking place on the sun and look for a pattern of highs and lows for the solar activity. And part of the conclusion, looking at that graph, is to think about when would it be safe to send people to Mars. Would any of you like to go on a trip to Mars someday?
Oh, yeah.
We've labeled it as mastery time, where they are free to progress through different activities and different concepts at their own pace for the most part. So you probably saw kids writing on our blog, our class blog, or completing assignments on Google Docs, or watching vodcasts from our science website. And that's true for most days. I mean, there are days when we have everyone doing the same thing at the same time and collaborating and doing labs together, and then there are those independent times that we've found to be pretty useful to see, just what independent learners can accomplish in that time period.
We're on Astronomy 4 right now, and we're learning about the sun and how the layers give off energy. And what you basically do is you read apps and stuff, and you all work on your own pace. So it's kind of fun because you don't have to listen to the teacher talk. So you get to go on your own pace and you get to learn stuff. And I do better on tests and science because you get to go on your own pace.
We work at our own pace on different things that Mr. Hoyt has set up for us. It's all on the Chromebooks. We use internet resources and certain websites. We learn about different units like astronomy and chemistry and stuff like that. I was watching a vodcast, a little video the science teachers have set up. And we watch along with the Chromebook and we write notes in our paper packet and get the vocab for the unit.
The students really appreciate the Chromebooks as much as we do as teachers. They love that it's quick and easy access. The Chromebooks, they enjoy getting to customize the Chromebook a little bit. Even though there's 4 different users during the day using the same Chromebook, they can do little things to make it their own, and the settings are all theirs once they sign in. So they really like being able to personalize it and make it a little bit theirs. The students like how quickly they can access different things using the Chromebooks, and they've really become quite fluent with using Google Drive and the tools in there, and being able to find things quickly through the Chromebook.
We wanted to do certain things in our classroom, and the technology then made that available and made it possible. So it probably started with ideas and just our teaching backgrounds, and just having taught the class, trying to figure out, okay, wouldn't it be cool if we could do something like that? And then, having the access to the technology in the Chromebooks has made things that might not have been possible. At the time that we applied for the grant, it was kind of a new thing at that point. We had a couple iPads in our classroom. We loved them. But we did some research and looked into the Chromebooks, and for everything that we really wanted to do with our class, we thought, the Chromebooks are the better fit here. The Chromebooks and their association with Google Docs makes collaboration so easy, whether that's a lab group or a presentation group. They're so adept, the students are at working together, both online and in class, and the Chromebooks were really good in that aspect. The other thing that we were attracted to mainly was the really quick startup time. I mean, we can open them up and they're working within the minute. That wasn't the case when we would get the mobile labs before. And to be able to just shut them sometimes and then turn them back on, and you're not losing valuable class time and learning time to do it, was a major draw for us.
As you move on to high school, there's more technology stuff like with science, and it's just better to learn it now in 8th grade.
I like how you can really work at your own pace, If you learn faster or slower, you get it done when you want to, and there's a lot more reviewing opportunities for testing and stuff. Yeah, they're amazingly fast and really good at what we're using for. It's made simple memorization of like vocab terms and like formulas and patterns of motion and like layers of the earth so much easier because you don't have to keep looking back in your book or whatever. You can type them on your notes so you have them right there.
I would say that 90 to 95% of my students, they love the Chromebook and they like working at their own pace. There's always different styles of learners, so there's a few students here and there. But for the most part, the students who catch on to things quickly appreciate that they can move on, and if there's a topic of special interest, they can research it in a little more depth, while those who are struggling, we've provided them with a variety of activities and they can practice and go through some reteaching with us, and they appreciate that they can go at a slower pace. So it has been really nice for all different styles of learners, and I think the students recognize that as well.
Students and learners have been able to access those things at home. Not only the resources that we have available, but they can actually do some work there. And then when they come to class, they might have questions. They might have other concepts they have questions on. It's kind of nice that when you're on the internet, questions about science lead to other questions about science. So it's kind of fun, both in the classroom and out, to be able to, as a teacher, say, I don't know, let's figure that out. And it kind of gives you the opportunity to be a model learner with them, not some expert or all-knowing teacher expert that is the only source of that information. The students have gotten used to, maybe I don't have to ask the teacher here, I'm going to figure this out right now with the Chromebook that I have.
We all do the packets and stuff online with Google Docs, so we can just log in at our house and use our home computer and then work on science there, so we don't have to take anything home or anything. When we created the Google folders that we put them in, we shared them with Mr. Hoig, and if we have a worksheet or a guided reading we do and he wants us to turn it in and grade it, he can just ask us if we're done, and then he goes into our Google packet and he checks it, and he can leave comments and give us feedback and grades.
I really appreciate the Google Drive. We have students at the beginning of the year make a science folder, and then they share it with our email address. And then as teachers, we have a folder for period 3 and a folder for period 4 of all of our students. And for teachers, it's great because we can check their progress and give them feedback right into their Google Doc. And we can find out that, yes, this student really is as far ahead as they say they are, and this other student, oh my, we're a little worried, and so we can make sure to keep a closer eye on them or put some comments into their packet to let them know what they should be focusing on. For students, they can access their Google Drive anywhere, and it gets rid of the excuse that, oh, I was going to study for my quiz, but I left my packet at school and I didn't study the night before. Or when they're homesick, we can just open up their packet and, oh, I see you've gotten through letter C. Why don't you do these activities as the next things while you're trying to recover from being sick? It's really a handy tool having it accessible on the internet.
The teachers seem to get a little more one-on-one because, the kids aren't all doing the same thing. So maybe one kid has a certain problem with this, well then they really come in and help. And then you continue to work at your own pace. Like if somebody's having trouble, he doesn't need to stop the class just to talk about it. You can keep moving on and stuff.
The model that we've used allows us to really build a lot of relationships with students, which is something that has been essential for us to get to sit down with each student almost every day, each individual learner, and ask how they're doing and what they're working on has been a really valuable thing for us to be able to do. Rather than have our time in class be addressing 30 students at once, we can go one-on-one and really get to the core of what they're thinking about and how they're doing in science.
So with so much information out there, it has been interesting challenge for us to try to figure out some searches that students can do that can't be easily found just by searching Google. And it's been fun to try to come up with those types of questions that students are curious about and don't have a simple answer, and that we can lead them through, that relate to our curriculum. It's been fun to try to have them exploring some of those questions and see what they can calculate and figure out without just a quick answer, a quick factual answer.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm planning on becoming an engineer, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of technology involved, and it's probably good that we get used to it at this stage and time. A lot of people think that technology is bad and it's rotting our brains, but when you take applications like this and put them for education, I think it really can do anything you want it to.